Hey everybody, welcome back. In this video I'm going to share 15 trends in graphic design for 2023. Now the definition of a trend is a movement in design that's gained wide enough usage to be actually recognizable as a trend. Trends aren't always something that's absolutely brand new. In fact, very little is. So what I recommend is using trends to stay inspired. Use them as a jumping off point in your work and then making that design your own. Or you can choose to consciously react against these trends. It's totally up to you. But knowing what the trend is critical to informing your work one way or the other and to keeping your clients informed. Trend number one is called systematic. I don't know any designer who doesn't love working in series. Creating multiple variations on a design theme offers really unique challenges as well as exciting opportunities to expand on an idea in a really visually compelling way. Working in series or in systems are particularly well suited to the food and beverage category, as you can see here, but opportunities also exist in apparel, in hard goods and posters, promotional materials, among others. The idea is to maintain an aesthetic thread between the range of items through things like illustration or photography style, color, or typography, while maintaining enough consistency for the system to hold together as a group. Trend number two is MIDJOURNEY and AI. Artificial intelligence has been taking the design and the illustration worlds by storm this year, and it will certainly continue and expand as we move into 2023. MIDJOURNEY, the AI illustration tool, has been garnering a ton of attention with the quality of work that it produces. Now, while it has deep strengths in imagery that's more fantastical or has a science fiction or a fantasy leaning to it, it can also create work that is fascinatingly inventive when it comes to static objects like the wolf statue on the left or the electric guitar just to the right of the wolf. Trend number three is collage. Collage has been around for decades, and it finds its roots in Russian Constructivism and the Dada movement at the beginning of the last century. With the invention of digital tools, it became incredibly easy to create collage, but what's harder is how to make it hold together aesthetically and thematically so that it serves the strategic communication required of the design that it's being used in. Collage can be surrealistic, but it can also be used to communicate complex topics in an inventive and multifaceted way. For example, the Netflix History 101 image on the center left, or the Adobe Creative Cloud promotional image on the upper right, or the Cougar Paper 50th anniversary promotional image on the upper left. Trend number four I call HOLO-MORPH. Holographic imagery requires complex blends of iridescent electric colors rooted in cyan and magenta and green and turquoise. This design trend creates a sense of movement and ongoing evolution as something morphs into being. It communicates a futuristic and a high-tech aesthetic that's being used in everything from app design to advertising, poster design, even apparel and packaging. The shapes used are often amorphic, undulating on a dark ground to accentuate the electric glow of the color blends. And also, advances in metallic printing techniques have made it easier to reproduce this look on physical materials and products, which is succeeding in keeping it in the trending category. Trend number five is military-inspired. Now, the design used in military materials and in generic utilitarian packaging has always held a special allure to designers. The simplicity of these typography-driven layouts are made possible by the use of sans serif fonts, simple linear dividing lines and strokes, abbreviations, numbers, and technical information. Imagery, photography, or illustration are really rarely used and tend to detract from the ability to achieve the aesthetic. White open space is really important to maintain, as well as severely restricting the use of color and relying mainly on black and white to achieve the look. This design trend is being used heavily in the spirits and food and beverage category, but also in men's accessories and products because this design style has historically been really attractive to male consumers. Trend number six is dark mode typography. Probably the biggest trend in color and typography that we've been observing is the usage of white text on a black ground, particularly on websites and on mobile. Now, historically, designers have been discouraged from using reversed text on black because it can be notoriously difficult to read, particularly if used in large blocks of copy. But as computer monitors have increased in resolution, combined with the trend of having significantly less copy on websites, it's made this aesthetic practice more realistic to use. Also, dark mode has infiltrated the preference settings on a lot of computer operating systems, as well as web browsers, making this typography treatment increasingly acceptable. It also has the added benefit of creating a mysterious and dramatic mood in the designs that it's used on, as well as carrying the perception of premium that people instinctually associate with black and dark rich colors. Trend number 7 is New Brutalism. Brutalism refers to the brutalist architecture movement in Western Europe that lasted between the 1950s to the 1970s. It featured raw concrete and was really devoid of paint or decoration. In graphic design, it has roots in the earliest web designs when the internet was only basic HTML and decoration was often clunky and ugly. What I call New Brutalism vacillates between the unadored black and white simplicity of the early internet, like the soft pillows webpage on the upper left, to the intentionally ugly, crowded, and often glitchy functionality of early websites, as in the California College of the Arts Career Expo catalog in the upper right. The New Brutalist design aesthetic is unapologetically aggressive and visually striking, and it's surprising in its simplicity. It's great for use in digital media and apps and websites when you want to stand out from the pack. Now I want to take a quick break to mention I often get comments on my videos asking how to achieve the aesthetics that are in these trends. So I want to share with you a not-so-secret secret with you. Daniel Scott, in my humble opinion, is the best certified Adobe trainer out there, and he has an Adobe app video training website called Bring Your Own Laptop. The site is subscription-based, and it is an absolutely insane value at only $12 a month for access to every training he has on his site. Now, Daniel even sometimes uses the trends that I feature in my annual videos as examples in his training videos. So if you want to get better at using your favorite Adobe apps or even learn a new one, I suggest you head over to byol.me/Philip. Now that's my affiliate link, which I hope you'll use if you want to support my work here on YouTube. byol.me/Philip. Okay, back to the trends. Trend number 8 is 70s typography. Increasingly, fun is returning to typography and graphic design. More and more designers are using vintage 70s style fonts and type treatments in their design work. We're seeing it in print and packaging and mobile apps, marketing, and even animations. The fonts being used can be bubble-like balloon fonts or bold, rounded serif fonts once popular in the golden age of magazine advertising. Or they can be trippy, swoopy serif fonts that feel simultaneously liquid and psychedelic, a la the 70s illustrator Peter Max. Trend number 9 I'm calling LENSA-TION. Well, unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard about Lensa in recent weeks. Lensa is a design AI app that digests 10 or so pictures of you and then spits out remarkably polished and in some cases totally gorgeous illustrative portraits of you. It's amazingly fun to play with, and I expect to see this kind of illustration showing up everywhere in personal brand websites, the music industry, entertainment, and of course, social media profiles. Trend number 10 is GEO-SIMPLICITY. The simplicity of basic geometry is the mama that the design community always runs home to when things get too crazy with technology and visual complexity in the design industry. That's what's happening now with GEO-SIMPLICITY, rooted in the use of bright, often primary colors, super simple geometric shapes of circles, squares, hexagons, and rounded cornered rectangles. This trend has been gaining steam over the last couple of years, and as popular culture and society becomes more complex and difficult to navigate, we welcome the simplicity and the cleanliness and the restfulness of this design style. GEO-SIMPLICITY is being used in everything from environmental design and wayfinding to print, packaging, food and beverage, spirits, you name it. Trend number 11 I'm calling CyberWave. CyberWave is simultaneously an illustration style and also a design layout style. The combination of heavily manipulated and colorized imagery, photography, or illustrations combined with high-tech fonts, digital interface, and control panel design elements. With nods to technopunk and steampunk and game character design, this trend is heavily used in the music industry, particularly in the Asia-Pacific countries, also in professional gaming culture and cosplay subcultures. Now, the sportswear industry is embracing this trend heavily because it aligns with the high-tech functionality of their products and their shoes, as well as speaking directly to their younger, streetwear-loving customer demographic. That leads us to trend number 12 that I'm calling the BLOB. The blob is recognizable by the use of amorphic puddle-like shapes as the main visual design element in a layout. The shape can be used as a simple striking vehicle for a field of color, or it can be used to mask illustrations or photography in a visually interesting way. The shapes can be simple, or they can be longer and more convoluted. They can also become really inventive type treatments. They can be hand-generated, or they can be obviously computer-generated. The range is really broad. This design style is a great way to offset simple typographical layouts and inject a level of fun and lightheartedness into a composition. Trend number 13 is Vaporwave 3.0. I know, not Vaporwave again. But that's why I'm calling it Vaporwave 3.0. It's a design trend that is just not going away, so I have to mention it. Look no further than the quote-unquote new Twitter blue logo that was released just last week on the left side in the middle. Sure, it's not bleeding edge design anymore and it's making its way into larger usage, but actually that is the definition of something that's trending. Characterized by the 80s Miami Vice type and Technicolor sunsets and palm trees, it leverages magenta and cyan heavily to achieve the design aesthetic. It's also showing up in social media, sportswear, gaming, and now even into the realm of fine art in gallery settings, as in the image on the top center. Trend number 14 is global voice. Now please understand, I am not trivializing the war in Ukraine by calling it a design trend, because it's not and it shouldn't be. But what I am doing is celebrating and showcasing the amazing work of thousands of designers who've used their superpower to be a global voice for good. Throughout history, designers have led the way when it comes to giving voice to the oppressed and speaking out against injustice in the world. And when it comes to having both the imagination and the creative means to communicate in a really motivating way to the world and speaking truth to power, designers are perfectly suited to the task. And we have to own that responsibility. The war in Ukraine has sadly given the design community another opportunity to showcase that strength, and they've done it in amazing form, shining a global light on a tragic conflict. And finally, trend number 15, Viva Magenta. This is not actually a graphic design trend per se, but a color story trend. But color is an incredibly important part of graphic design. Pantone's color of the year in 2023 is called Viva Magenta. It's a bright red with a slightly magenta cast. Last year in 2022, Pantone named Very Peri, a periwinkle, as the color of the year, which was definitely softer and more muted. But the zeitgeist of popular culture has moved to embracing colors that are more vibrant, leading to this year's Pantone choice. This color trend is already being heavily adopted in the beauty and fashion categories, as well as sporting goods and advertising. So that's it. I hope you were inspired by these 15 trends in graphic design for 2023. And if you were inspired, make sure to hit that subscribe button and bang that notifications bell so you can get alerted when I post a new video or when I go live. And as always, I'd really appreciate it if you'd forward this video to a friend or colleague or post it on social media so others can get inspired too. So thanks for watching, stay creative, and bye for now.